Hey there, listeners. This is Zach. I want to say a couple things at the top of this episode. This is a really special episode for me because I finally got to interview some of my own students. It only took 258 episodes, but I finally got there. So, a couple things. The theme song, you'll notice if you're familiar with our regular theme song, which I composed this week, it's a little different. It's actually a remix of that theme song made by one of my students. His name is Soul, and I just want to shout him out for the awesome remix that he made. He's not on this episode, but Ian, another one of my students who is on this episode, you'll get to meet him very soon. He also made a remix of the theme song, and I'll be using his version a little bit later, so you'll get to hear that one too, and I'll of course let you know and give him the credit that he is due. So shout out to both Soul and Ian for their awesome remixes of my MCP podcast theme song. The other thing I want to mention about this episode is that we talk about our school podcast, The Layer, and we talk about some segments, and I was mistaken with the dates. That podcast won't actually publish until later in the week of December 8th. So it won't be out yet, but I am going to drop it in the show notes as soon as it is published. So if you're interested in hearing Hansi's alien invasion piece that he talks about, check back in the show notes soon. I'll link to The Layer in general, but episode 2 won't publish until Wednesday of this week. So definitely, I strongly recommend checking it out. It's pretty hilarious. You'll hear a little bit more about it soon, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it with my students, Ian, Hansi, and Kennedy. Hello, and welcome to the Modern Classrooms Project podcast. My name is Zach Diamond, and I'm a high school media production teacher in Washington, D.C., and, of course, a Modern Classrooms implementer. And today, I have the immense pleasure of being joined by 3 of my own students at D.C. International School. I'm joined by Kennedy, Hansi, and Ian, and it is such a pleasure to have the 3 of you on the podcast. Thank you all so much for coming on and joining me.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks for inviting us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I always say I'm excited. I feel like it's kind of becoming a meme on this podcast for me to say that I'm excited about our topic or our guests, but this one is really special to me, and I just can't express how appreciative I am for the 3 of you giving up an evening to join me and do this with me. We've been looking forward to it, and I am just so excited to have this conversation and hear what the 3 of you have to say. So we're going to get into lots of stuff about, my class and sort of how it's structured. But before we do, I'd love for the 3 of you each to sort of tell the listeners a little bit about yourselves and, what kinds of things you like to do, what classes you like at school, and just let them hear your voice so they know who's talking when I say each one of your names.
Hi, I'm Hansi. I like Mr. Diamond's class a lot. I like audio production. I've had him for all 4 years of, I had him for 3 years of middle school. And then I had him last year, and now I'm having him this year in 10th grade. So that's a pretty long time.
It really is.
I really liked his music class back in middle school, and I'm really into arts. So I also I'm doing pretty good in art class. I really like that class, and I like English a lot. But yeah, some of my hobbies are I like playing instruments and drawing, stuff like that. Pretty fun.
Thanks, Hansi. And people can't see this, but your profile picture is this red picture of Tom York from Radiohead, which I love that. Hansi and I connect over Radiohead. So thanks, Hansi. That's great.
Very good band.
Very good. Kennedy, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kennedy, and I've been in Mr. Diamond's class for maybe since 8th grade. I'm a junior now, and his class has really helped me figuring out what I want to do in life. Regarding my career. So recently I wanted to become a voice actor, and for another podcast that I'm working on, I spoke to Ezra Wise. He's the voice director for a popular show called Marcus Ladybug, and without his class I would not even be able to talk to him, and honestly it was really a great experience. And honestly, with being in this class, it helps me practice my editing skills, and I did a really great audition for a dub for an anime called K-On! I did it with a lot of my friends, and we had such a great time recording it, and the end result came out great. And I'm so happy I got that opportunity to be in Mr. Diamond's class, and as well as finishing that project. And my podcast with Ezra Wise will be done pretty soon.
Kennedy, I was so impressed because I didn't even know you were reaching out to him. And I didn't know who Ezra Wise was, but now I do. And the interview was so cool. And I'm really excited. I will link, this is for our school podcast. So, this episode that we're recording now is actually going to come out after you're finished with that assignment. So we're a little bit out of time right now, but I will link that in the show notes for this episode so that our listeners, the Modern Classrooms Project podcast listeners, can hear that. It's going to be really special. And then Ian, how about you?
Hello, I'm Ian, and I'm a junior. I guess my favorite classes would be DP Music, shout out to Mr. V, and audio production. And I can relate a lot with Kennedy because, like, this class in particular has helped me move up a lot, especially since I took music class with Mr. Diamond in 6th grade. And because of that, I started my music journey. I started producing music. And, yeah, so this class has, like, inspired a journey and possibly my future career.
Wow. Oh, that's incredible, y'all. I kind of don't know what to say. That was just so nice of all of you. Ian, you might be the student who I have taught who is like the most driven to pursue exactly what I'm teaching. I think you took my class in 6th grade on Zoom and then again in 8th grade. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you just like kept on doing Soundtrap.
Yeah, I did.
And that was so cool. I remember you would show me your songs, and I don't think I've ever had any student who like just it stuck with them so much, and they kept pursuing it to the point that I think I told you at the beginning of this year, maybe last year, like you've basically outgrown Soundtrap. You are ready for a more advanced DAW at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy to have you in audio production where we're starting to work on more advanced software than just Soundtrap. But thank you to the three of you. I mean, that was so nice of you, and I'm really happy that all these classes, I guess, have had such an impact on all of you. I guess I'm curious, because we can start getting into this now. I guess the reason that I asked you to come on this podcast is not just to talk about the content of my classes, but actually more the structure of my classes, because you may know this to some extent. We've talked about it a little bit gearing up for the podcast, and you definitely know like the pieces of my class, which come from this model called the Modern Classrooms model. The Modern Classrooms Project is an organization that trains teachers in this model, right? And the model consists of using instructional videos, using a pacing tracker, which you know from my class for sure, the big yellow, blue, and green thing that I think is kind of notorious at this point from my class. And then, essentially checking your progress before you move on, checking for mastery, that you really learned the lesson before you move on. And so I'm curious to hear from the three of you, since you have all essentially chosen to keep coming back to this class, what about it makes you want to keep coming back and keep taking this class? Besides the content, if there is anything besides the content that makes you keep wanting to come back.
Okay, well, I guess for me, I would say it's a pretty chill class. The overall workload is solid. It's very doable. And it's like not as stressful. And basically, for me, it would just mostly be the content because music is like something I enjoy doing and making. So,
Okay, so the reason why I choose to stay in this class is honestly because our teacher, Mr. Diamond, he's so nice and he's one of the best professors I know. And honestly, I agree with Ian. The workload is really nice and it's subtle. So you have a lot of time to complete whatever it is you don't finish in time. You won't get mad at us for that. And also, I did have food poisoning maybe about a month ago. And honestly, Mr. Diamond was really patient with me about, completing the work that I had to do. And also, I did join his class a bit late this year just because I was taking another one. And I was just like, oh my gosh, since I've been taking audio production for a while now, I want to join back because the class is just so much fun. And overall, my confidence in this class is through the roof. I just have so much fun talking to people and working with people and getting to just meet new people and getting to do podcasts with them, getting to interview them. And obviously it's a great experience for me too. Just to keep coming back to his class and just be happy with it every single time.
Yeah, honestly, I really like I keep coming back to the class because I just feel really comfortable in it. I like all the people that are in it. I like Mr. Diamond, great teacher. I like the feeling of being able to like express myself like creatively. I've had a lot of fun like doing all the projects. I just made this fun podcast about a fake alien invasion. I'm pretty proud of it, and I really like expressing myself creatively in the class. And I touched on that last year, but I've really been able to like do a lot of it this year, and I'm really proud of my work so far. And I have a lot of fun in the class. I like all the people. All the kids are really nice. Mr. Diamond's nice. I really like talking to him like about just interesting stuff and music and stuff because we have like a common interest in that. And it's really fun. I really like just being able to express myself like creatively and like make things. Like it's just fun.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear from the three of you. I hear some common themes. I hear that like it's a chill, like comfortable environment, which is something that I very intentionally strive to do that. I guess I would say like before my class had that tracker and before I used instructional videos, long before any of you were at DCI, I guess the last time I taught traditionally before using the Modern Classrooms model was in like the 2018, 2019 school year. It was very different. Like I think that it would have felt more like what you would imagine, I guess, a traditional class is like, where the teacher is standing up at the front of the room, basically running the class the whole time. And the model has allowed me to not do that. And I think I'm really glad to hear from the three of you that it's essentially working, right? Like you feel that sort of relaxed environment. It shouldn't be too stressful. I don't want to stress my students out, but I do want you to learn. You know, I want to push you to learn new things. And Kennedy, you also mentioned being out. I remember when you were out, and like you had to catch up. And that, I guess, leads me into the sort of first of those three elements of a modern classroom, which is the videos. I also, of course, worked with you. It's a relatively small class that you're in, which is great. But I want to ask you all about, you've had my class for a long time now, and I guess Hansi and Kennedy, you're in the advanced audio class, so we don't really have as many videos because it's just sort of a production environment. We're all just working on stuff the whole time. Ian, you still have the experience of learning from videos, but you probably all remember from at least 8th grade or last year, Audio 1, learning from videos. How did you all feel about the videos in my class? I think a lot of times students don't like to watch my videos, but I do put a lot of work in them to like get the content to you that way without having to stand at the front of the class and teach it. And I'm curious to hear your perspective on those videos.
So at first in 8th grade, your videos were honestly making me mad because honestly they were in Spanish, so I didn't really understand what you were saying at first. Even though I've been taking Spanish for a really long time, it just would have been better in English for me. But for this year and last year, your videos honestly have helped me a lot. So usually I wouldn't have to call you over to me all the time when I could just watch your video and watch the GIFs and the slides and the hard work that you put into the videos. And they're honestly just like a really step-by-step easy tutorial for me to go off of when I'm doing a project, answering the slides, and doing all my classwork. So yeah, I really like the videos now, but back then not so much because they were in Spanish and I just didn't really understand it as much because my Spanish was really rusty back then. But now, since I'm getting better at Spanish, I'm able to understand it more. And honestly, yeah, I just think the videos have been helping me and definitely a bunch of other students who take your class. And I admire the hard work that you put into those videos just to help us get started.
It was music in Spanish, to be fair. Audio production is in English, and it does definitely feel to me like I'm able to sort of focus more on the content now because it's in English. But yeah.
At first, like during middle school and stuff, I like kind of enjoyed. I didn't really like. I kind of strived to do like my own thing. So the videos were a nice guide, but I kind of ignored the advice given in them, which maybe wasn't the best idea. But I enjoyed watching the videos, especially because there was this little thing like in like 6th grade and 7th grade, I think, where like you would put questions and they were like always have like at least one answer that was like kind of funny, and I would always choose that answer and ignore all the other questions and ignore all the other answers. So I think the videos for middle school, I thought they were like a nice guide, but especially now, I think it's like last year, I think they were like, I'm more of like, I'm the type of guy to just like do things the right way and like follow all the instructions and stuff. So that really helped. Like step-by-step instructions really helped me like get through those projects and stuff. But I also enjoy that we don't really have to watch videos now, and we can kind of like just figure it out on our own, because that's also pretty nice, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially using an advanced piece of software like Adobe Audition, right? It's kind of wild to think of standing at the front of the room trying to teach all the stuff. All three of you are recording into Audition right now, and just to set up a new project, there's like 50 button clicks you have to make, right? It's very complicated. And so I feel like having the videos, I record little like 20-second GIFs that just show me doing one thing at a time. It really is like step by step. And I feel like it's such a better way to teach that. So I'm glad to hear that, Hansi, that it's working out for you this year, or I mean, last year in Audio 1. Ian, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the videos are pretty great. For like, I totally agree with Kennedy in middle school, where it was obviously music in Spanish, but like, since personally I'm a native speaker, it wasn't too bad, but I could see where some people kind of struggled there. But overall, the videos are pretty helpful because they provide like a guide that sort of tells you what steps you need to do. And so like with that, Mr. Diamond wouldn't really have to like repeat himself as much every time. So you would just like watch like each video that is on the slideshow, and then it'll tell you step by step on what to do. And if you still have questions, then you can obviously come back to Mr. Diamond. But like I said, overall, the videos are pretty helpful, especially for me, since they kind of like help you get started, if that makes sense. And after that, if you just have any questions, you could just like ask for help or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that the three of you are all sort of the type to, I guess now I would call it lock in, right? Like you'll stay at the computer and just work, and you'll go back to the videos to check what you're doing and make sure that it's right. And I can basically trust the three of you to just sit at your spot for a full class, basically, and lock in, right, and get the work done. And you all do that and do a great job. And then you come to me when you need help. And I feel like that is the ideal format of a class. I don't know. Do you all agree? Like, is that good for you, or would you rather that I be more hands-on?
I think I don't know. I like the way the class works. I agree that like I'm pretty much just good working by myself, and when I need help, I can call for you. So yeah, it's a pretty good like system, I feel like.
Yeah, I totally agree as well.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I do like working a lot by myself, and I love editing. So usually when I do it by myself, it just helps me a lot more when I just ask for help when I need it. And yeah, I just log in when I log in,
Yeah, you really do, Kennedy. I've seen you sit for like an entire 85-minute class period, just like headphones on, like, don't talk to me, I'm editing. You really do lock in, and you do a lot of incredible edits that way. I do too. I mean, I get it. Like this, I edit this podcast, and I totally understand. Like, so maybe that's why we get along. I totally feel all three of you in that sense. So let's talk about the self-pacing aspect. And I guess the part of the class that you all most interact with, not so much now in Audio 2, Kennedy and Hansi, but all throughout middle school and in Audio 1 as well, we had this pacing tracker, right? The big spreadsheet that I put up on the board. And I guess like that's the part of the class, like I said, that you all actually interact with. But what it implies is that you can work ahead, or you can fall behind, or you can spend more time than another student working on a particular lesson. And my thinking around that, especially in music, was always like some students are going to probably want to spend more time making a beat, while others are going to want to spend more time writing lyrics. Some are going to want to do something else. I don't know, right? And so I would call it self-pacing, right? You work at your own pace. I just give you the final deadline. How do you all feel about that type of structure? Like, do you feel like is it easier? Is it harder? Does it give you more time to work on things? Do you find it easier to get distracted? Tell me all about how you feel with that.
All right. Well, I really like the self-pacing like stuff. I like throughout the years, I like the fact that I could just like, honestly, I was the kind of kid to like spend a lot of time like focused on one thing, and like I kind of fell behind a few times, but I made sure I was like finished by the end at least. So it was nice to like at least like see my progress and like know that I could still like probably like finish everything, you know? And I just really like being able to see where I'm supposed to be at, honestly. 'Cause like it's a nice like reminder, you know?
Are you talking about the blue column in the tracker?
Yeah, the blue column and stuff.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, because sometimes I don't know if my students actually pay attention to those colors, but I'm glad to hear that you do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with Hansi. I mean, the pacing tracker is pretty useful, and like I agree with him where like in middle school I would fall behind sometimes, but now I'm like in my period, like my zone where I'm just like locked in, and so when I do like work on a project, for example, like I could see where I'm at, and I also pay attention to the pacing tracker because it like tells you if I missed a lesson or if I need to like go back, for example, or something like that. And it also like shows like what's next. So if I'm done with something, which I'm pretty sure one of these units that we did, I was like ahead for one point.
Yeah.
Then I could just like move on to the next lesson, and yeah.
Yeah, honestly, for me personally, I love the tracker because as a person who usually has a lot of missing work, I get to just look up at the board and see what I'm missing or what I just need to complete if I'm falling behind or something I could already get a head start on. So honestly, I just think it's a really helpful tool for all of our students, like my classmates, to have, just as a reminder to make sure to finish some work, you know, just to get stuff done and just not be stressed about the workload. So it's a good strategy and a tool, and I really like it a lot.
That's really glad. That's really great is what I was going to say. And I'm really glad to hear that. I want to ask, like, did it ever make you feel nervous or anxious to like have your progress publicly displayed on the board and to be able to see everybody's progress? Or did that not bother you?
Not really for me. I mean, I don't think many people like paid attention to like how good my progress was. I mean, I was only really paying attention to what my progress was, so I can only assume like people were just paying attention to what their progress was. So yeah, not really.
Yeah, I also agree. It didn't really bother me that much. Maybe in middle school, I was like, you know, a little something about it, but now it's just there for me. And like Hansi said, nobody else really pays attention to other people's progress. They only pay attention to their progress for the most part. So it's not bad.
Actually, I have one more thing to add. Like, I kind of liked for the progress tracker. I kind of liked like being able to look at like how my peers were doing. Actually, I didn't really focus on anyone in particular, but like being able to see like how everybody, like where everybody else was, and to know like if everybody was like stuck on the same part I was or something like that. Like that was really nice and like comfortable, you know?
Yeah. And obviously that's really valuable for me, right? Like if I'm moving the blue column along and no one is moving along and everyone's stuck on lesson like 4 or whatever, and I'm on lesson 6, I can see there's a problem, right? And I guess it never even occurred to me to think about it that way, Hansi, but you're right. Like if everyone's stuck on the same lesson you are, it's like, oh, good. It's Mr. Diamond's fault, right? Like it's not me.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of comfort that I actually had never even thought about. Kennedy, what about you?
For me, sometimes I can get a little stressed out because like there's probably like this one person in the class who has like 4 like X's ahead of me, and I'm like, oh my god, they're like so consistent with their work. Maybe I could be like that too. So it will strive me to just do better when I have work like that I don't have to do right now, but I should get done, you know, just so I don't be stressed.
Like that little push.
Yeah, that little push that I need. So honestly, thanks to that one person in the class that has like 4 X's ahead, honestly, thank you.
That's really funny. I mean, I'm really, really happy to hear that. I think that some teachers who are interested in this model and using a tracker are concerned that their students would feel like anxious about having their progress put up on the board. And I do it. I've chosen to do it. Obviously, you know this from my class. I don't like put your grades up there, right? I feel like that would be different. And I think another thing that happens too is like if you look at the board and see that someone has already finished something, it helps me to look at the board and be like, oh, Hansi's already finished lesson 4. Kennedy, if you need help with this, Hansi can help you, right? Or
Oh yeah.
whoever it is. I'm not sure how much you all notice me doing that, but I definitely do it.
Yeah, I remember like I like to help people sometimes when I was like done with like activities and stuff. It was nice to like help people that were behind or something like that, like back in middle school.
Yeah. And Ian, that was definitely you this year. It's been you a lot this year in Audio 1.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you were way ahead on that first unit and I knew you knew Soundtrap really well. And it was great for me to basically be like, okay, 3 people want my help right now, but I know that one of them is struggling with something that's actually totally Ian's wheelhouse, right? I can just, if he's not busy right now, I can ask Ian to help whoever this person is that needs help. So, yeah, I'm really into the self-pacing, and no one really touched on this, but it's really important to me also to give you all the time that you need and not move on to the next lesson the next day just because it's the next day. Sometimes people take different amounts of time to do things, right? And like you all said, sometimes you fell behind, sometimes you worked ahead. And I don't know, it's just really important to me that like you have that freedom. As long as, like Hansi was saying, you get it done by the final deadline, So let's talk about getting X's on the tracker. And I've linked my tracker in the show notes for the podcast for listeners to see. And I've linked it before too, so people are kind of familiar with it. I've shared it a lot, but it's not with your names. I have like an anonymized version of it. But what I do is I put an X by your name in the column for each lesson that you complete, right? But in order to get that X, what would you describe, like how would you describe the process of getting an X from me on the tracker? Not so much now, Kennedy and Hansi and Audio 2, because we're not really using the tracker in the production type of class, but just thinking back to your experience in middle school and 9th grade or in 10th grade, how would you describe the progress of getting an X from me? What do you have to do?
Well, I think it was just like turning the thing in and like finishing all the work, like submitting the actual like documents and stuff is what really like got those X's. And yeah, just like being on that like part of the assignment and stuff is what really like got me there probably.
Did you ever get R's?
Oh yeah, the R's. I remember the R's. Yeah,
It just means to revise something. It means that something that you submitted was either incorrect or I thought you could have done it better or you missed something. Revise.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember like sometimes when I didn't finish stuff, I would get like R's and stuff, or like other kids would get R's. I think I got just mostly X's, but yeah, sometimes I got R's.
So for me, like when I need to get an X on your like assignments, I do like to keep my my answers really detailed, like what I need to do, like, oh, what are you doing for your podcast, or like why does this matter to you? How would it make others feel? I just like to my answers. I like to go in depth with them so I can get like a better grade, to make sure I barely get any R's on my assignments on the work that I need to do. I think I've only gotten like maybe like 1 R in your class throughout all the years, I think. So yeah, honestly, I like to keep my answers detailed. Like, for example, the one where we were listening to, like, a Lion King thing, and there were, like, different types of music in the background, and, like, you had to describe how, like, what does it make you feel? Like, does it suit the scene that, like, that's being portrayed right now? And my answers are really detailed for that, and I like that one a lot. So, yeah, that's what it means for me to get an X in this class.
What about Ian, I know you're up next, and I'm not going to interrupt you too much. But what about the screenshots? Do y'all remember doing the screenshots of Soundtrap?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And you would have to like name the certain sections or whatever, right? Or like certain things you were doing.
Sometimes you would have to like write on the slides to say like this is the playhead or whatever,
Yeah.
or show me like this is the vocal. Yeah, because I was looking to see like did you record the vocal, and so I would ask you to put a screenshot in this or whatever the particular task was, right? Not necessarily a vocal, but a screenshot showing your Soundtrap. Yeah, Ian, what were you going to say? I didn't mean to jump in ahead of you.
Oh, good. Actually, that actually brought me to my next point, or to my point, I guess. In order to like get that X in middle school, especially, you would have to like complete every single slide, and so like basically with the screenshots, or like you have to fill out everything. But now in audio 1, because like I'm more in a more advanced situation, all I really have to do is just get the final product done, and then I'll just get the X.
Yeah, I mean, because especially now that we're using, I guess I have to describe this so that people understand what we're talking about. The four of us, obviously, I'll get it because we're in class together. But, we use, I have a set of classroom MacBooks, and we use professional software, Adobe Audition. And not all the students are even logged in to their, school accounts on there. And so I don't ask for the screenshots anymore from you all because I can just walk over and look, right? And that's honestly that's better for me because if I see something that you need to revise, I just tell you, the screenshots were great for, especially when students were absent, or I was absent, right? And I had to see what everyone was working on when I was absent. But now that everyone's working on these Macs and we're at a sort of more advanced level, I can actually just walk over and be like, okay, I know what I'm looking for. Did you do that thing? Do you need help doing that thing? Did you do it in a way that wasn't correct? Do you all feel like when I do come over to look at your work to give you that X, do you all feel like you know what I'm looking for? Like you know what to try and show me? Is that clear to you all?
Yeah, to me, I think it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear what I need to finish, from the instructions on the slides and stuff, and what to show you and stuff, what I'm done with. For me, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, as well, it's also pretty clear to me. I mean, the slideshows and your previous instructions are pretty straightforward. So with that, I could just basically get it done. And if I need help with whatever, then I could just ask for help. But it's pretty much straightforward.
Yeah, I agree. Usually you would walk up to the board and just start explaining to us what we have to do. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, to get this grade, you have to explain blah, blah, blah. So honestly, your lessons and the way how you talk is really straightforward to me, and I hope to everybody else. So yeah.
I hope so too. I mean, one of the things that I've mentioned this before, but I really like about teaching in the CP, the career program in our school, is that the rubrics are very simple. They're very much like checklists. Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? And you get the grade for all the checks that you got. And so if you just read the rubric, you know all the things you have to do. And then I try and do that, Kennedy, on the lesson level, right? I try and make it as clear as possible, especially when I was asking for screenshots. I would put in the slide, screenshot showing your Soundtrap with a vocal recording in it. So if you didn't put a vocal recording in it, I'm going to give you an R, right? But yeah. So I want to ask you all, and we've sort of touched on this a little bit, but I want to ask you all, is it challenging? How does it compare to your other classes too? Is it challenging to be in a self-paced type of class where you have to basically hold yourself accountable? I mean, I'm there, and I will. If you're falling a couple lessons behind, I'm going to come over and bother you about it, right? But there's a little bit more accountability that I give over to you all than I used to when I was teaching traditionally, to stay on pace yourself. Right. And like I said, I trust the three of you very much to do that. But I'm curious to hear your experience having that accountability over yourselves, staying on pace.
Honestly, staying on pace for me is actually a lot it takes a lot of the load off, and it's a lot more I don't know. For me, it's a lot easier to first of all know where I'm at, and second of all feel comfortable with where I'm at. because some classes are like, for me, like, are just like really hard. Like sometimes it's just like too fast paced for me. I can't like, I don't know, like I need to get too much work done in too little amount of time, and it's just like really rushing stuff and stuff like that. Or like sometimes like things like in other classes things are like dragged on for too long, and I kind of get like bored or distracted, and maybe I won't learn as much. But like being able to like know where I'm at and being able to like remember and feel comfortable with where I'm at is a lot nicer for me, honestly. And I really like being self-paced, because it's like it just makes me like, it just gives me a lot more like relief to like know exactly where I'm at, where I want to be, and see like where I'm supposed to be, and just like strive to like know how to get there is just really really nice for me.
That's great. I mean, Hansi, do you feel like you're able to apply those skills in other parts of your life, like besides my class, or is it just because I have the tracker?
Yeah, I think honestly, from like in like middle school, I think I learned a lot about like staying on track and stuff, and like setting like I would set like documents for like what I was supposed to do in your class, and like scripting stuff and stuff. I remember I did a little ad thing, and I remember I like put a document for like all the stuff I wanted to do, and like put like notes down and stuff. And I feel like I actually, after that, I like started doing that for a lot more classes too. And like it's helped me a lot, honestly. Like setting like different documents for like classes, and like putting them in like a, like there's this little folder at like the top of our Chromebooks that we can put them in, like little like documents and stuff. And on it, after doing like those things in music, I actually started doing those things in like different other classes and stuff, and it helped me like remind myself to like do work and like get work done on time and stuff.
I mean, that's great. That's another part of my sort of my goal here for you all, is to not just learn my content, right, but like to hopefully learn some time management skills and accountability, right, responsibility for your work as well. Kennedy, how about you? How do you feel about having more accountability over your own progress?
It would be, for me, like, it's pretty easier for me to take accountability just because I'm easily distracted with a lot of my other classes, and I try to get myself back on track to where I usually was. So honestly, in your class, it's easier for me to like just stay on track because of the tracker. So usually I'm pretty like so slow paced because I'm always doing something in your class. Whatever, it could be recording or editing. Like, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so usually I just want to make sure that it's good enough, like it's to my liking. So yeah, honestly, I just think like it's easier for me to take accountability when I know when I'm slowing down, like when I'm falling behind a bit. So I just gotta try to catch up. So yeah, I think it's pretty simple.
That's great. Ian, how about you?
Yeah, I also agree. But I would say that it depends on the person, because for me, I really like the subject, but for another person, they might not be as interested in audio production or music or whatever. And so it really depends on the person. But I would say I would also like stay on pace pretty well. And like, for example, that tracker really helps me like stay focused, because like I know what I need to do, and you know, I could just go from there and do work.
That's awesome. Man, I feel so happy to hear that feedback from you all, because like I said to Hansi before, like sometimes I wonder, I'm putting this thing up on the board. do people, are people using it the way that I hope that they're using it? I'm just really, really happy to hear that it seems like the answer is yes. I guess, what would you all say has been a challenge of my class then? Like, it is a slightly different structure than I think most classes are. At least it's certainly very different from how I used to teach. Have there been any challenges relating to the structure of my class? Putting aside the content, right? Not. I don't mean like difficult concepts to learn, but have you ever felt like there was something difficult about staying on pace, or something difficult about getting the X or whatever the case may be in my class?
Well, for me, I feel like just like sometimes like since it's self-paced, sometimes I can get like distracted sometimes and like maybe lose myself and like lose where I'm supposed to be and just like fall behind a little bit maybe, and like it can be kind of hard to like catch up and stuff after like having that sort of situation going on. But usually when that happens, I just try to finish as much as I can as soon as possible. But yeah, sometimes the self-paced aspect can like cause me to like kind of self-destruct and like lose focus when I shouldn't be, you know? And like it can be kind of hard after that happens. So that's definitely a difficulty.
Do you think there's something that I can do better to support you when that happens?
I mean, I think like extensions and stuff could help, but I think just in general, like maybe like reminding the class, like, hey, this is where you're supposed to be, like every day or something like that. Like instead of just like having the tracker up on the board, like physically say like you need to be here, like especially if it's like soon, like sometimes you do that, but I feel like doing that more often maybe could help. Like when like maybe it's like really close to a deadline or something, or like nearing, like even like maybe like a week before or something, like nearing a deadline to an assignment, I think could help a lot with that sort of problem.
Sure. That makes sense. That's really good feedback. I will take that into account. And I guess I'll do it more, especially in audio too, where there's actually less structure, right? I probably do need to do that more, Hansi. You're right. Kennedy, how about you? Can you think of a challenge that you faced in my class? Any of my classes, not just audio too.
Oh yeah, I just want to stick to audio. So I only have 2 major conflicts that I face in your class. Probably the first one would be the drives. When I have to share a drive in your class, I share a drive with maybe 1 or 2 people. Like those 2 people are like in a group. So usually they'll be like, oh, like, do you have Rocket? Like, can I use Rocket? But I'm also working on a project and we're both working on a project on the same drive. So sometimes it can slow me down a lot when I have to get something done and I just can't because I need my drive to get my work done.
Totally. And that's a logistical challenge. I mean, for listeners who don't understand what Kennedy's talking about, we have 7 computers and students work on external hard drives. So they need to have their hard drive. That's Rocket. Kennedy's is Rocket. Hansi, yours is Science, and Ian, yours is
Nostalgia.
There we go. They have names. They're very cute. But so, yeah, it's, we have 7 computers and drives, but there's 13 kids in that class. So it can be hard sometimes to manage the equipment. And that's totally fair, Kennedy. I should probably just see if I can get more, because that would solve that problem. You had another one. What was the second challenge?
Yeah, the second challenge is probably doing group work, because usually when you're in a group, there can sometimes be some students who aren't as committed as you can be. So usually, I could be working on, maybe a sample or, a recording from someone else, and I would just edit it and do my part of the work, and sometimes they won't do it. So they just slow us down, and I'm not able to get the X that I need. So that's, the second conflict. I know it's not really in your control, but others do. But, yeah, when I do group work, it's just hard to all of us just be on the same pace. So that's why I just like being by myself and working alone, because I'm able to just do what I need to do when I need to do it, instead of being in a group where sometimes your teammates or classmates can slack off and not do the work that they need to do when I've already done my part. So those are just the 2 conflicts that I have in your class, but overall it's an amazing class. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's entirely fair, and I mean it's not in my control what they do. It's also not in my control what you do. You have that drive, right? I don't mean hard drive. I mean you are driven to do your work, and that's great. I do think I could do a better job maybe clarifying what roles are when you are collaborating on an edit, because really it's like you're looking at a computer and using the computer and using the mouse and keyboard and using the tools, right? That's not something that two people would do at the same time, but you can certainly both listen together, and I could do a better job maybe clarifying what that looks like in practice, right, when you're working with someone to co-edit, basically. Ian, you did a really good job. I should tell you, this is random, but you and another student, Alvin, the other day were editing that little like mini podcast formative. The two of you were sitting together, like listening together, editing together. I was really impressed. That was a really awesome collaboration.
Yeah, I would say we worked pretty well. But I guess to answer your question, for me, two conflicts would be time. And the reason is because it's like time kind of flies by, especially when I'm locked in. And so I try to finish as much as I can. Because like also like navigating and, you know, doing all of these different things, it like takes up too much time. So then when I look at the clock in the classroom, I'm like, oh, time's almost up. And I just want to keep working on it, but I can't. And then the second conflict would be the opposite of Kennedy, where like I kind of like dislike working solo, especially when we did the recording activities. I think it was a formative from last unit. And we had to like record sounds around school, and because it's like a new and uncomfortable experience for me going around the school and trying to find sounds to record, I kind of like slacked off a little bit, and I only ended up recording one sound when I could have done more. So I guess time and working solo in some cases is like the main issue for me.
Yeah, that's fair. And I guess like part of recording podcasts is going out there and talking to people, and that's the reason why I plan that activity that way. It's an activity where you're talking about the gain staging one where you record sounds of different volumes, but I really like the other one. I don't know, I designed it, so maybe I'm biased, right? But the one where you have to record a single word from each person to make a full sentence. You have to go up to like 15 people and say, "Can you say the word the? Can you say the word and?" And then put the sentence together. And yeah, it's a little bit weird, right? But Miss Barbieri keeps being like, why do these kids keep coming asking me to say and? But I do want to push you all a little bit on that. But I totally hear that, Ian. It can be hard, and having another person with you can make you feel more confident for sure. I need to think more about collaboration. I feel like is it happens very organically in a class that I think that is like unrestricted as I try and make mine, which is why, Ian, you're such a good helper in my class. Like I know that you can help people that are stuck on something that you already know, and I think I need to think more about how to structure that kind of collaboration, right? Like not just random, oh, Ian can help you with this. Oh, Kennedy can help you with editing because she's really good at that, right? But more sort of like structured group work. I could put more thought into that, and that's really fair feedback that I will have to give more thought to. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to close us out, but before I do, I guess I would like to hear from each of you, like if you can think back, it could be from any of the years that you had my class. What is one favorite project that you did for my class, just to kind of give the listeners a sense of what it is that we even do in my class? What would be one favorite project that you remember from any of your years in my class?
I have like two, honestly. Do you think I could do two?
Yeah, fine. That's fine. Go ahead. Hansi's cheating here, but that's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry. But like 8th grade, I really dedicated myself to music class. I think I was much more dedicated than I was any of the other years. And I decided I was going to do something like really hard for my cuz we were supposed to do this project on like making an instrument, and I decided I was going to do something like that I was actually going to be like proud of, instead of just like following the like instructions and making like one of the pre-made or like pre like designed sorts of instruments. So I decided to make this banjo out of a pan.
The banjo.
Yes, the banjo. And it was like, I just thought it was just like a really fun journey, because it took a lot of hard work, but I was really proud of the product, and I really liked just like working on that and dedicating myself to that. And it was nice to like work hard, like really hard on something that I was actually like really dedicated to. And that was a really nice moment in my 8th grade year. And
I'm so glad.
yeah. And also, honestly, this year the first like podcast that I'd done, the first project, the fake alien invasion, it was just like, it was really fun to make that, I felt like. And it was like, I liked being able to, I already said this, but I really like being able to express myself and my ideas like creatively, and like just have like a fun time like collecting people's like voices and like interviewing them and stuff, and like just making it as good as I like imagined it could be. And I was really proud of the product, and I just really liked making that project overall. It was really fun. But yeah, those are 2 projects that I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, the fake alien invasion is like, it's hilarious. You've seen me. I like laugh out loud while I'm listening to it. It's really, really funny. It's funny for me to hear all the students' voices, and because it's a podcast, there's no video, right? Like I have to be like, hey, who is that? I know that voice. I think it's really fun. And I think it's so cool that you mentioned the banjo, because that was an awesome project. And I remember it was like not easy. There were a lot of challenges. There were a lot of times where like we learned that, the tension on the neck was too much, so the neck broke, and like you had to start over with that. It was a really hard project, and I think it's so cool that like you that didn't like discourage you, right? That's still one of your favorite experiences from 8th grade. I'm so happy to hear that. That's great.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, Hansi. Thank you. Kennedy, how about you?
My favorite project that I've done in your class is definitely the one with K-On! That was my most favorite project. I worked so hard on that one. I locked in for that one. Working with all my friends and creating something like this, it was probably one of the best experiences I've had when, like, being in a class and working at school. So honestly, like, my friends did so well with the voiceover recordings, and my mom was so happy for me. She sent it to like all my family members, and we're like, oh my god, Kennedy, like, this is so great. Like, how long did it take you? And I said, like, it took me a while. And I was just so proud of myself and happy in that moment. And it makes me want to keep on going and just keep making more projects like these. And I hope we get to do another one of those projects in the future.
Yeah, that one was fantastic. And it's going to be one of the ones that I show as like an exemplar in Audio 1 this year, because it was really, really good. And yeah, again, like, not easy. Not at all easy. A lot of hard work, a lot of scheduling with people to come into the sound booth and record with you, right? Like a lot of busy times, but when you're driven to do something, like it sticks with you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Ian, how about you? Last but not least, a favorite project.
Yeah, my favorite project is the one that I did this year, which was a podcast called The Man in the Spirit. And I would say that's my favorite project because I worked so hard on it. And to me, that I originally made that project the voice recording using AI for a English project in 8th grade. And then in 8th grade, I remember that it was my dream to like make it better and like, make it professional. And my dream came true this year because I was able to get it done. But yeah, I basically worked like really hard on it, and I put like my full effort. I've used all the skills I've learned from the past, and my podcast came out pretty well. So I love that one.
It definitely did. And I think it's interesting to me that it wasn't, because what you really, really latched onto, Ian, at least to my eyes, was the music aspect of Soundtrap, right? Making songs, making beats. And this was a podcast, right? It wasn't making a song, but you had all those skills that Soundtrap know-how, and you put it to work in that project. Like, I remember sitting down at your table and like I started scrolling to try and see all the tracks, and I was like, this just keeps going. There's so many tracks. There's so much here. And it was all positioned like just so that it fit with the voice and the music was just right. So yeah, I love that. I love that all three of you remember these projects that you worked so hard on, right? Like they weren't easy, but they stuck with you. And it is that sort of like that feeling of accomplishment, right? Where you make something really cool after a lot of really hard work. So that's fantastic. I want to thank you all so much, for giving me this hour of your time. I hope that our listeners hear, I don't know what I hope they hear. I hope they hear how thankful I am to the three of you for all that you've put into all of these years in my class. And for your kind words too, but like, you're the ones who really did all the work, not me. And I'm just so happy to hear that this is working for you. Ian, like, thank you for being the one who was stuck with Soundtrap for all those years without me even asking you to, like, you just did it. That's I feel so accomplished to have inspired you to do that. But it was really all you. That was awesome. Kennedy, thank you for turning me on to Ezra Wise. That was that. And you reaching out to him, just cold DMing him and having him agree to an interview. Like, I was so impressed. That was so cool. I texted your mom. I was like, this is amazing. And Hansi, thank you for sharing. I have this Spotify playlist. You've seen it. I call it my reading list. And it's just albums that Hansi recommends to me. It's like too long for me to listen to with the amount of time left before I like retire. I don't know. Like, you've turned me on to so much awesome music. You know what? I'm going to put that Jordy Griep album in the show notes. It's called The New Sound, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh my God, that album is so good. And Hansi turned me on to it. So it's not just the Tom York Radiohead situation. Yeah. Thank you for showing me all that awesome music and for all your hard work. All three of you, thank you so much. This has been absolutely fantastic. And thank you for giving me this hour of your evening. Yeah, thank you all for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Diamond. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course.
So fun.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you so much for listening. Listeners, remember you can always email us at podcast@modernclassrooms.org, and you can find the links to topics and tools we discussed, as well as more info on this week's announcements and events in the show notes for this episode at podcast.modernclassrooms.org. We'll have this episode's recap and transcript uploaded to the Modern Classrooms blog on Friday, so be sure to check there or check back in the show notes for this episode if you'd like to access those. And if you enjoy our podcast, and it's been helpful in supporting you to create a blended, self-paced, mastery-based learning environment, we would love if you would leave a review that does help other folks find our podcast. And of course, you can always learn the essentials of our model if you want to go beyond the podcast through our free course at learn.modernclassrooms.org. You can follow us on social media at modernclassproj, that's Proj. And we're so appreciative of all the hard work that you do for students in schools. Have a great week, and we'll be back next Sunday with another episode of the Modern Classrooms Project podcast.